I challenge you to a duel.
It's the only argument I need. I don't want to talk to you no more, you.
You got a lot of nerve.
Soon you will know what it is like to be defeated.
Stop defending him, Sean.
All right, let's go.
Hey, sleepers, and welcome to the Sleeper Wire Great Debate Show. I am your host, Professor Chris, and with me today is our Sleeper Wire Prophet Hoos. What is going on, man? Welcome back to the show.
Oh, man. It's week 2. We're in week 3 now. It's like, this is the exciting stuff that we live for. Like, we live for this stuff. Like, yeah, we have other stuff. We have good stuff, going on. But this is stuff we actually live and breathe for. Screw moms and wives and kids and stuff like that. Football season. This will come up.
Yeah,
as I look around, none of my kids or my wife is here.
August to January. Yep, we're not married anymore.
Sorry, babe.
Well, welcome back to the show. This is our second waiver wire great debate of the 2018 season. Last week we did running backs. We're doing a couple wide receivers today. Before we jump into the show, everybody, please go to iTunes or Google Play. Drop us a nice 5-star rating and leave us a nice review. That truly does help out the show. What we're going to be doing here in the great debate is having a debate-style argument between these two wide receivers. We're going to spend a couple minutes arguing for our player, 90 seconds for rebuttals, and then we wrap it up with final thoughts on our player. And once again, Hoos, you know this. For the listeners, this is not for us to convince each other. We're not trying to win the debate. That's not the point of this, right? This is not like an argument you're trying to win, as especially like with your wife or something like that, which you can't really ever win those arguments.
It's nice
anyway.
to have a break. I was gonna say, it's nice to have a break from not having to win an argument.
Exactly.
So I always love to come on this show because I don't have to worry about that.
Yep. Which means we can't lose this argument either.
No.
Which is good.
No. Yeah. It's awesome.
And today's show is sponsored by PristineAuction.com. It's a great website with hundreds of new auctions every single day for prices that are just unbelievable. Everything on their site is JSA certified. It's all 100% authentic signed memorabilia. Visit PristineAuction.com today and let them know that you heard about them from Sleeper Wire. That's PRISTINE auction.com. All right, jumping into the great debate here. Like I said, we've got wide receivers, Antonio Callaway versus Keelan Cole. I've got Callaway and Hoos has Keelan Cole, and I'm going to go ahead and kick us off here. So Josh Gordon is officially on his way out of town on a trade to the New England Patriots. This opens up a huge opportunity in the Browns passing game. Jarvis Landry definitely has one of those starting spots locked down for sure, but the other one was up for grabs before this past week, and then the Cleveland Browns decided to put in 4th-round rookie Antonio Callaway over Chard Higgins, and he played pretty well. He ended up with 3 catches for 81 yards and a touchdown on only 4 targets, leading the Browns in receiving yards. For his first real game action, the kid stepped up in a big way, catching a 47-yard touchdown pass to tie the game with 1:16 left in the fourth quarter before the Browns kicker went all Browns and then Browns the extra point, missed it, and it went to overtime, and then the Saints won. Well, we don't have a whole lot to go on when it comes to stats with Antonio Callaway. We've basically got one NFL game under his belt. He didn't get any targets in week 1. This is basically all we have to go off of. Let's talk about his opportunity. As I mentioned, Josh Gordon is no longer with the Cleveland Browns. Callaway is going to be the guy stepping up and filling that role. This week, his first real NFL game, he was on the field for 81% of the Browns' offensive snaps, 50 of the 62 offensive plays. That's a really good ratio for your first NFL game as a wide receiver, and especially good when you're playing with a quarterback who doesn't throw the ball very much. That's going to be a knock against him, I'm sure. Will Tyrod throw the ball enough to make him relevant? Well, we'll see. Tyrod isn't the greatest quarterback in the world. That's no secret. Although he did lead the lowly Buffalo Bills to a playoff appearance last season, but he does have a great deep ball. And Antonio Callaway is easily the fastest receiver in that offense now. He ran a 4.41 40-yard dash in college, and he's still fast. He's going to be the go-to guy when it comes to stretching the field. Jarvis Landry is absolutely 100% Tyrod's go-to player, as he should be, especially those short routes over the middle, the small slants. He's going to be peppered with targets. But when the Browns are looking to throw deep, the ball is going to go to the guy who can outrun everybody else, and that's Antonio Callaway. That used to be Josh Gordon. Not there anymore. That's going to be Callaway. And keep in mind that this right here, the great debate, as I mentioned, this is a waiver wire show. Very few players picked up on the waiver wire are going to be weak.
Yeah, I mean, he's got nice opportunity. But who else has the nice opportunity? It's for Chard Higgins. I mean, that guy, he soars 7 targets. 7 targets. He caught 5 of them for 47 yards and a touchdown. Now, we know Callaway, yeah, he got the start on Sunday, but Higgins still saw more targets than the rookie, and he still seemed to be the guy that Tyrod looked for. You know, Taylor seemed like, even before this, if you watch Hard Knocks, there's been some Higgins hype. And this Josh Gordon leaving only leads to more Higgins hype for me. So as, you know, Callaway has a shot. He's a rookie, but I mean, come on, look at Hugh Jackson. He's never really leaned on his rookies. Yeah, it's not his offense. He has a coordinator that he does lean on, but still, you know, I don't think that we're going to see as much Callaway as you're alluding to. I just think Higgins is such a nice piece. Jarvis Landry, you still expect to get the bulk of targets. And, you know, Higgins is a former 5th round draft pick, so he should still be in line to have a decent season. I'm not going to call him a breakout, but I still would bet on him to be the second receiver versus Antonio Callaway, which we've only seen one game of footage and is just too early to be, you know, picking him up over a guy like Keelan Cole, who I will get into shortly.
And when you say shortly, you mean right now. Who's kicking off?
I do. Keelan Cole, man. You guys know, if you're listening to the show, he shouldn't be on your waivers. He should be on your team. But we still have to talk about him. He's still owned. And, oh, man, with the percentage, I think it's less than 50%. Keelan Cole is just a beast. 48%, exact, 48.4% to be exact. He's such a beast. I mean, the guy had 7 receptions for 116 yards and a touchdown. And he called that beautiful, just Statue of Liberty-esque, Odell Beckham-esque, whatever you want to call it. The guy is a baller. Like, he just went out there and just did what we thought here at Sleeper Wire. We're no Keelan Cole's capable of doing this. This is why he's probably on your team. It's probably why you are going to go ahead and pick up Antonio Callaway because Keelan Cole's probably on your team, but he's still not owned in enough leagues. So if he happens to be out there and you haven't been listening to us, or this might be the time you're listening to us because, as you know, myself and Lucas, Lucky Luke, the guys, we've both been very high on him. And then, of course, we got Dirty Job. So we got Mike. We got everybody else on the Sleeper Wire team. They all just jumped onto the Keelan Cole. I don't want to say they jumped on the bandwagon because we're the Keelan Cole train. We are the train. Everyone else jumped on a bandwagon. He's just a beast of a back, of a wire. Sorry, not a back. He's actually leading the team in targets and in yards, just as we suspected. I mean, and he's only got to compete with Dante Moncrief and Westbrook. Both of those guys are kind of PPR guys. Keelan Cole's a little bit more of the field stretcher. I think we can continue to see more games out of him, just as we did last week. Bombs down the field, more beautiful catches, spectacular catches. This guy should be on your fantasy teams. He's already he has an 83% catch rate. Like, off of, he has 10 of 12 targets on the season. Those target counts are only going to go up. He's actually leading Tony Brown in yards among Odell Beckham. Granted, it's only 1 yard, but still, I have to bring it up. He's a guy that you probably did not draft unless you listen to us. And he's still out there on waivers in more than 50% of the leagues. Like, you guys go out there and pick up Keelan Cole today. The guy will win you your championship. Flex option. He's actually could be a wide receiver too for you. Start up.
All right, so my biggest argument against Keelan Cole, you said a lot of really good things, but we still don't know who Blake Bortles' go-to wide receiver is this season. Cole may have had a big day, 7 for 116 and a touchdown on 8 targets, but he wasn't the target leader for the Jaguars. Dante Moncrief led the Jaguars with 9 targets. TJ Yeldon and Corey Grant added 12 targets out of the backfield. Austin Seferian-Jenkins had 5. D.D. Westbrook had 5. In week 1, Yeldon had 7. D.D. had 6. Seferian-Jenkins and Moncrief each had 5, while Cole only had 4. We hear about some quarterbacks that like to quote-unquote spread the ball around, but Blake Bortles never really comes up in that conversation. Based on the first 2 games this season, he's certainly spreading the ball around. Through 2 weeks, Dante Moncrief actually leads the Jaguars with 14 targets, followed by Yeldon and Cole with 12, D.D. Westbrook with 11, Austin Seferian-Jenkins with 10. A different receiver, or TJ Yeldon, could lead the team in yards and targets any given week. I like Cole a lot, for the record. As you were saying during your argument, he had a phenomenal end to the 2017 season. I'm not trying to downplay that at all. I'm just pointing out that through the first 2 weeks of this season, Bortles is spreading the ball around a ton. He's also 49% owned, so there's a much better chance of Callaway being available than Keelan Cole being available. All right, moving over to final thoughts here. As I was saying when I was wrapping up on Antonio Callaway, since this is a waiver wire show, very few players that are picked up on the waiver wire are going to be weekly starts. I'm not arguing that Callaway is going to be a guy that you can plug in every single week yet, but he does have some good matchups this season where he can fill in your wide receiver 3 or flex role, particularly during bye weeks. It's got the Jets and the Raiders coming up, the Buccaneers, the Chiefs, the Falcons, the Bengals, the Texans, all beatable defenses for wide receivers. He's worth taking a shot on. He's only 6% owned right now, so there's a very good chance you can get a guy who can put up some nice games for you this season.
Yeah, and certainly, Callaway is definitely a guy you should have on your watch list, or if not, you hear the show, you add him to your rosters. Because as we were saying, you should have Keelan Cole on your team. But again, he is owned in less than 50% of the league, so we have to cover him. We have to let you guys know if for some reason you aren't listening to us. Got to go up there and pick up Keelan Cole. He has Tennessee, the Jets coming up. He's got Kansas, Dallas. They're not the scariest teams, even though they're touted to be. The Jets certainly not. He doesn't have the target count, but he has the efficiency. That's what you're looking for. And if you look at last year, which I actually didn't even bring up in the argument because I'm so excited about just what Keelan Cole is. If you listen to in the offseason, that's what we were talking about. Last year, he was a wide receiver 1. He finished only behind Hopkins, and from week 13 to 16. It's insane in PPR leagues. Granted, given your scoring, maybe you had scoring that skewed somewhat. But the guy was top 3. He finished ahead of Keenan Allen, Michael Thomas. That would also helping you win your championships. Keelan Cole's there. He helped you get there in week 13, 14. He followed it up with a great game. Week 15 and week 16 as well. He was just a championship winner for you. He's not going to. He's kind of Drew Brees is Bortles kind of Drew Brees-esque. I will say he spreads the ball around. And I was saying that early in the offseason, but I still like Cole's efficiency, what he's able to do with the ball. Kind of like, Chris Godwin, who's another guy we were saying that we were going to talk about. But it is Cole. Cole is efficient with the ball. Get him on your teams if he's not on your team now. Yeah,
we had some good players for this week's great debate that we had brought up. You mentioned Godwin. Who was the other guy who said, Tyler Boyd. Yeah, 4 wide
Tyler
receivers.
Boyd,
it was a good one. We ended up settling with Callaway and Cole, but honestly, any 2 of those 4 would have been a good one. If you guys can't tell, who really likes Keelan Cole? You like Keelan Cole as much as I like really Melvin Gordon, man.
I tend to get a little bit more passionate about the guys that really like Chris Thompson. Love that guy.
You know what? I may be changing my tune on Chris Thompson.
Oh,
I know, man.
Here we go. Here we go. Finally.
Not quite yet.
Chris Thompson, you hear that, buddy?
Yeah, I just watched him torch the Colts. 13 catches. Damn.
Oh, man. That target count is insane.
Big
I love
game.
me some Chris Thompson.
For sure. All right, guys. Follow us on Twitter at SleeperWire Show. Go check out sleeperwire.com. We also put up the rankings every single week. It's a combination between myself, Dirty Jobs Mike, and Prophet Hoos. So we combine all of our rankings together. They get put up there every single Wednesday, sleeperwire.com/rankings. You can find us on Twitter at prof_Chris SW and at SleeperWireHoos. You can find us on SleeperBot at Professor Chris and Prophet Hoos, and the Fantasy Life app at Professor Chris SW and Hoos the Prophet. Thanks for listening, guys. We'll catch you next time.